Good evening, this is the Oscar expert here with Brother Bro, and it's time for updated Oscar predictions. It's June, we had Cannes happen. Top Gun's a thing now. I guess those are like the major updates.
Well, Everything Everywhere has killed it and continues killing it at the box office. That's an update.
But before we get into it, we gotta thank the sponsor of this video, Incogni. Looking at ducks again. Who said that? It's me, a data broker. Every time you use the internet, I am watching behind the curtain, collecting millions of dollars off of your personal data. What do you know? I have your name, age, IP address, your voting history, your hobbies, your anxieties. I know you better than you know yourself, some may say. Good thing I know my rights. I can just request for that data to be deleted. Fool! You really think you have the time and energy to reach out to these brokers yourself? It can take years to finalize a request. The system is broken by design. Not so fast! Yes, kill him! How did you do that? It was easy. I just used the power of Incogni! From the team who brought you Surfshark. When you work with us, we reach out to dozens of data brokers on your behalf to request that your data be deleted. And we'll keep you updated on your progress every step of the way. Is it really that important to keep my data private? I mean, it's not like I have anything to hide. You're still vulnerable to identity theft and other scams. Political campaigns can purchase your data to advertise to you, often using disinformation. It's a national security risk and a threat to democracy. Wow. I can't wait to get started today. And the first 100 people to use our discount code will get 20% off. Thanks, Incogni, for keeping me safe. All right, Best Picture. Number 1 is Everything Everywhere All at Once. You care to explain why this is number 1, buddy?
I almost feel bad because I don't want to jinx it or anything, because if this actually won Best Picture, I would be very, very happy. But I think this is definitely getting nominated, okay? Let's just start there. The movie has done extremely well for indie box office. This is not just some weird action comedy anymore. This is like a highbrow prestige film. It's a critic darling. It's a fan favorite. There's no group of people that doesn't love this movie, and the people who love it fucking love it. I don't see any way how this could not get nominated for Best Picture. It would just break my brain.
Look, it made more money domestically so far than the Grand Budapest Hotel. Okay, that's where we're at with this movie, is Grand Budapest Hotel shit. This is A24's highest grossing movie by over $10 million right now, and we know the actors are getting nominated because the narrative is there, the push is there. Pretty easy to say this movie could win Screenplay, right? I mean, that's I was already thinking maybe number 1 for Screenplay, maybe number 1 for editing.
Yeah.
And when you have it at number 1 in those categories.
Okay, well, what about Her or Get Out? Could it just be one of those things where they're just happy giving it Screenplay? Well, I mean, if you want to make that argument, you can, but I'm going to go the other way and say that by default seems to give it winning potential.
Also, it just this early in the year, we haven't seen any of the other movies in the top 10, so may as well. You know what I mean? May as well.
And think about the other boxes it could check with nominations, okay? Like you said, it could get acting nominations, very important. Probably will get editing nominated. With a film like this, I don't know how you nominate it for all these awards and then not director, because this is their vision so through and through. This film is one that I think could easily capture people's hearts and make them feel good to vote for it.
Even if it's not the front runner, maybe it kind of surges last minute or has a push, Parasite-esque push of passion. The counter argument, I guess, is, well, the Academy, they're a little older. This movie's a little hyper stimulating. They're going to not be as with it. Even if there are some old folks who aren't going to get the movie, I don't think that it's going to stop the movie from getting nominated or being in the winning conversation. I wouldn't necessarily bet on it winning at this point in time, but I don't have a strong bet on anything else. And typically, it's not the sort of heavyweight that it seems like it's going to be at the beginning of the year.
It's the kind of film that I could see not winning the earlier awards, maybe not winning Critics' Choice and Golden Globe or even BAFTA, and then winning the Academy Award because the narrative's so strong. And we've seen films that have the best narrative come out on top. Now we have 3 strong examples: Moonlight, Parasite, and Coda.
Number 2, we got Babylon. That's just one of those heavyweights. The test screening reactions make me just feel so confident that this is going to be one of the biggest contenders of the year.
10 or more nominations,
Yeah,
probably.
maybe winning Best Actress, maybe winning a couple techs like production design. It's about old Hollywood and movie making.
It'd be interesting if it pulled a La La Land and got a bunch of nominations and then like lost Best Picture, or like started winning stuff and then lost again.
Killers of the Flower Moon. The only way this doesn't get nominated is like if it doesn't come out. There's been rumors that it won't come out. They are taking a while in post-production. They might need to rush it a little bit. And there is a danger of them not finishing it. By all accounts, this is intended to come out this year.
You need to justify this. And then like the Fablemans, like, do we need to justify it? Do we? Everybody knows that these on paper look the best. Leaving them out of the top 10 would be kind of foolish. Like if you're trying to go for accuracy, unless you just want to be like funny, unless you're trying to be a goofball, you could leave it out. But
you'd be silly to not have this top 4 in your top 10. You might as well go, put on your little dunce cap and prance around in the corner if you don't have these top 4 in your top 10. And then we got Women Talking at number 5. This feels like the Power of the Dog Nomadland type contender. Going to be very critically acclaimed.
Going for the festivals.
Got a huge cast. I mean, how do you stack up this kind of cast? Rooney Mara, Frances McDormand, Jessie Buckley, Claire Foy, and you don't like get awards? I have a very easy time thinking this will get at least like screenplay and an acting nomination. Bardo. This is Iñárritu's new film. Iñárritu.
Pretty hard to deny, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Last time you had this at number 12, and now you've bumped it up.
Well, what happened? Netflix said it's ours now.
Yeah, and then now they're going to festivals most likely.
Netflix has to get at least one movie in, and it's kind of likely that they'll get 2, like in any given year now.
They most certainly have confidence that they can get this film a few nominations. And they'd be big nominations, like cinematography, director, picture.
Or maybe an actor. Empire of Light is number 7. This is Sam Mendes. This is another just heavyweight movie. Olivia Colman's in the lead.
Why'd you move it down? I feel like you had it in your top 5 last time.
I don't know. I mean, you could put it at number 5 if you wanted to.
I feel like this is big. I feel like this is just another big one.
Yeah.
I'm fine if it's at 7. Like the other films you have in here are pretty good, but
it's apparently like a romance taking place in the 80s. It's set around like an old cinema, another movie. Yep. Roger Deakins, Thomas Newman.
Sounds very irresistible. That's what I'm seeing. Very irresistible movie for the Academy.
The Sun. You got Hugh Jackman, Laura Dern, Vanessa Kirby, all in the new Florian Zeller drama. We also know this movie, I think, was confirmed submitted to Venice. So it's going for fall festivals. People are going to be comparing it to The Father, and The Father was a lot of people's favorite movie of the year. So it does have a really high bar to meet. But people say the source material is as good or even more acclaimed than The Father. And it's like obvious to me that Hugh Jackman has to be like in the Best Actor conversation too.
Yeah.
And then you have Rustin, another movie where it seems obvious that Coleman Domingo will be in the Best Actor conversation. Seems like a movie that could get beyond Best Actor. A lot of people think it will be limited to just Best Actor. This is George C. Wolfe, director of Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. It's a period civil rights era drama, also from the writer of Milk. It could get like a SAG Ensemble nomination. I mean, this movie I think could do more than Best Actor. And as we said, Netflix often gets 2 movies in. Maybe this is the second. It's not the one I'm most confident about in the top 10, but The Whale decided to squeeze this one into the top 10 because I really do think Brendan Fraser is going to get nominated. I really do think that for adapted screenplay, it's going to be big. And I think that either Hong Chow or Sadie Sink could be nominated in supporting actress. When you have all those pieces and you just assume it's going to be a good movie because it probably will be, possibly a tearjerker, then why not? On the Outskirts, She Said. This one's pretty tempting to have in the top 10. Spotlight, bombshell-esque story about journalists uncovering like the Harvey Weinstein story. Carey Mulligan's in it. It's got a pretty stacked cast. And the director ain't too shabby. Maria Schrader did I'm Your Man last year. 13 Lives. We got news that Amazon said this is our movie and we will be releasing it in August. And then you think, August? So you're telling me that you're not going to TIFF? Because we were saying in the last video, like, this seems like a TIFF People's Choice kind of movie. I don't think that this is a sign that Amazon is not confident. In fact, in a statement, they said that they want this to be an awards player.
Yeah, they're just prioritizing eyeballs. That's what they said, that this is the best weekend for eyeballs, and they're going to work from there. They're not abandoning an awards campaign.
I mean, we saw it with Coda. They released that in August.
Yeah.
People were scratching their heads and what the fuck happened with that
even
shit.
Trial of Chicago 7, like, that could have gone to the festivals, but it just came out right before the festivals. It was pretty bizarre, but that didn't have a problem getting a bunch of nominations.
And yet, I moved it out of the top 10, which looks like I care about the news. Maybe I care a little bit, but also, like...
It could be a little bit of a miss, you know?
Well, here's the thing. I mean, Ron Howard, like, he really has not gotten a Best Picture nominee in, like, a long-ass time.
The hype on the test screenings is pretty big. I do keep coming back to that and saying, oh, what if this is a huge crowd pleaser movie?
Next Goal Wins also continues to be a movie that we have very little actual info about. I feel like this has got to be the year that it gets released, though, and I feel like they've got to be thinking about going to TIFF with it. Maybe this will be like a very good movie, but not a movie that's getting people as excited as a Jojo Rabbit.
With the right director, you know, Adam McKay can get any movie nominated. Like, maybe Taika Waititi is just part of that club now, and he just knows how to work the audience and get stuff nominated.
Poor Things, I think, has a shot to get a whole slew of nominations, but it seems kind of risky. Like, I know that the novel juggles different narrators and it's kind of weird, but people think the novel's really good. Like, if the movie pulls off what the novel does well, then it will probably find a lot of critical acclaim. It's sort of Victorian, but it's also kind of making fun of the Victorian style, which is very much the favorite.
It sounds like it's very ripe for comedy, and it will probably be a very funny film.
It could suffer from being like too dense also, just from what I read about like what's good about the book. It's like political and philosophical and all this different shit.
Yeah.
So it's like, how are they going to juggle this?
I think
it's that's
an easy one for me to be like, okay, you're not in my top 10 right now, but like you're waiting to get there, and we'll see what happens.
Top Gun Maverick, I think it's a decent spot for it right now.
Yeah, I mean we kind of made the case for it in our Top Gun Maverick review, but if it can get editing and sound and then get a PGA nomination, like, then it could get Best Picture. I don't know how much people will be gunning for a Best Picture nomination by the end of the year when they see lots of other films that they love.
Yeah, it may very well catch on. Like, if it gets AFI Top 10 and Critics' Choice and PGA, then I'm going to be putting it on. I'm going to be...
Oh, yeah, if it gets Critics' Choice, I'd be like, whoa.
And it could get all those things. It could. Till, which looks like it definitely has potential for Danielle Deadwyler to be nominated, perhaps Whoopi Goldberg in a supporting role. It sounds like a very heavy and sad story. So I'm not sure if that makes it like a little tough for people or what, but it also could be a very emotional experience for people. I don't know.
Yeah, could be like one of the better indie breakouts of the year. Greatest beer run ever. Director of Green Book. Making a film about Vietnam that's probably like pretty lighthearted compared to other films about Vietnam. Like, this is no Apocalypse Now. This is like a feel-good film about war buddies.
About getting suds with your buddies. If this announces TIFF or Telluride, I'm going to watch the fuck out.
Yeah, I'm watching out for this.
Avatar: The Way of Water.
I have a feeling it's gonna be, you know, very good, but I don't think we're gonna like sing the song of Avatar on the rooftops.
Triangle of Sadness. I do think that we got potential here. Neon really does not have anything else to campaign this year. My advice to you would be, don't give a shit about what Rotten Tomatoes or Metacritic has to say, because the buzz on the ground for this movie was like everybody thought it was like top 2 at the festival. The movie's hilarious. It's a really fun satire. The structure's pretty unconventional. There's not any actors who I think are like no-brainers to be nominated, maybe like long shots. At best, this movie could get the Licorice Pizza package of director, screenplay, and picture. I think this movie has the shot of being that appealing. I think it's maybe Awesome's most accessible movie.
And it's in English. And this is your highest film from Cannes.
It could just maintain itself as like one of the most buzzed about movies of the year as it hits, you know, fall festivals or whatever. And people just continue to care about it. Amsterdam's number 20. I don't know, maybe we're like done with David O. Russell. You know, like I feel like he can't get nominated for screenplay or director because it's like an individual nomination for him. And people might not want to do that. And then Margot Robbie's in like a bigger movie, so we don't even need to nominate her. I don't know. I just feel like this movie's not going to happen, even though it's got Oscar bait written all over it.
I feel like it's going to get Nightmare Alley reviews, and it's not going to cut it because it has to work uphill to climb out of David O. Russell's like pile of shit.
The Woman King comes out like the week before Toronto, and it's like, why are you doing that? Maybe it's a little more of a mainstream kind of movie, but it could definitely play for like costumes, makeup, lead actress for Viola Davis. White Noise. Netflix spent over $100 million on this. They went like over budget. I have no fucking idea what they're doing with this movie. White Noise just generally strikes me as a movie that's maybe a little bit more heady. It's like about a college professor having like an existential crisis, you know, like what is that?
I hope it's great.
It could probably be like very good. Elvis, when I walked out of this movie, I thought, you know, that is kind of Bohemian Rhapsody. But, maybe people will feel like they've already been hit with a Bohemian Rhapsody. I think this is like a 3.3 on Letterboxd. Something about the movie, though, feels more forgettable. I don't know if maybe that's just going to be a me thing. Austin Butler will probably be in the conversation. It could maybe get costumes or something, but I'm not really sure I see Best Picture. Although maybe if it's a huge fucking box office smash, it can still happen.
Yeah, you kind of pitched Elvis to me as like an uh-oh. If it did get into Best Picture, it would have a path for sound and editing and costumes, just like Bohemian Rhapsody.
I think the reason critics like it more is because they're willing to give Baz Luhrmann like some slack for having like a style. The Killer, still have not heard a peep about this movie. Maybe it's not even coming out this year. David Fincher movie. It's also kind of like an assassin drama. So maybe it's more Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, mystery-y, and the Oscars don't really like mystery movies. After Sun, my favorite movie from Cannes. Where does this have potential? I mean, I feel like Paul Mescal, they would have to campaign him supporting for this movie to even have a shot, because I feel like he could be the window in if he starts getting critics nominations. I think this is probably going to be, at best, The Farewell. Tar is the new Todd Field movie. He did In the Bedroom and Little Children, and if there were 10 nominees, Little Children would have been nominated, and In the Bedroom was nominated, and they got acting nominations, and Cate Blanchett's in it, so Cate Blanchett's got a really good shot, and it's kind of focus features only a real contender if you look at it.
It feels like a movie that's destined to just fall short of expectations, though. I don't know how else to put it.
Like, it might be better than expected. Again, its focus is only movie, I think.
Don't worry, darling. Well, that has a trailer, and, the cinematography does look great. I think it's going to be a really interesting movie. Kind of feeling like it could be polarizing. Some people may love it. Some people may think maybe it's too obvious. I feel like I could see that being an accusation here.
It is going to Venice, most likely, and it's probably going to cause somewhat of a chatter, I think. Like, it'll do decently at the box office and get people talking at the very least. The Good Nurse. I will not dismiss this movie. It has Jessica Chastain and Eddie Redmayne. It's got a little bit of a true crime thing going on, I guess, which I'm not really sure if that's like an Oscars thing, but the director of A Hijacking and a War co-wrote Another Round and The Hunt. Cha-Cha Real Smooth. I don't think that this is going to pull a coda. It's coming out like next week. It's a hell of a charmer, but it just doesn't really seem like Oscar bait to me.
Cha-Cha Real Smooth may never hit the highs that it did at Sundance because people were so hungry for like that film, because Sundance was full of films that people were kind of lukewarm about, they thought were good but not great. And this one came along with a different energy.
Yeah, but it's actually very good too.
Yeah, no. I really like the film, but I don't know if that's gonna like go all the way to Oscar energy.
Shirley, another Netflix movie with Regina King playing Shirley Chisholm, who's the first black woman elected to Congress. Past Lives, this one, test screened, and it's been getting some pretty good reactions. Now, A24's slate is very fucking busy. They could even push something to 2023 just to make room. All Quiet on the Western Front is a remake of All Quiet on the Western Front, or rather just another adaptation of the novel. It's going to be, I think, a German movie. Daniel Bruhl's in it. It's going to be black and white, so you had to wonder maybe cinematography, sound, at the very least. Decision to Leave. Mubi has the distribution on this, so it's not like as big of a deal as if Neon had it. And because this movie's a mystery, because it's a little bit confounding, I don't think that it's going to be an easy play for Best Picture, but it's got like worthy texts, and maybe Park Chan-wook can be in the conversation. I still think that he will be. Alleluia is a British movie with Judi Dench based on a play, and the director did Iris and Notes on a Scandal. Banshees of Inisherin is Martin McDonagh. Colin Farrell and Brendan Gleeson reunite. My hunch is that this one's going to be more of like a, hey, like we're reuniting to like do the In Bruges tone that you all love. I don't think he's going to have another 3 billboards on his hands with this. I do not think that Broker is going to be like the international Best Picture contender this year. It's another very good movie from the director, but similar to like A Hero from Oscar Ferrati, like I don't think that's enough. I think that if you're going to break in as an international film, you got to be like one of the director's best movies and have a whole different kind of buzz around you. And The Lost King has Sally Hawkins in it, and it's directed by Stephen Frears. Stephen Frears' name alone, I think that's just enough. Philomena happened. The Queen happened.
The Batman, I do not think is going to happen. Do we even need to mention that?
Best Director. You know, I'm just debating this top 6 because I want to fit them all in so badly. Scorsese at number 1, I guess. I guess, like, I thought maybe Chazelle at number 1 or something. He could maybe win another director Oscar. I mean,
You may as well put Inarritu at number 1 because he can't stop winning director when he gets nominated.
He's gonna stop winning. They gave him 2 in a row. They're done. They're done with him for a while.
They're done. I mean, they gave Emmanuel Lubezki 3 in a row because they
That's
when
not
you can't
director.
when you cannot deny it. Like, that's the thing. What he does with his films is you can't deny
He's
that
not
it needs a director nomination.
He's not working with Lubezki.
It's like Cuarón, where like. It's such an achievement that he has to win.
Yeah, but who says that he's filming in Lubezki long takes and wide angles this time? He may not be.
I do not see how he would not do something impressive because he really cares about impressing people.
Look, you convinced me to have him at number 5 because I really wanted to have Sarah Polley in the top 5 because I'm kind of like, that just feels like that's going to happen.
Look, listen, I agree. Women Talking is just going to be, I think, a less grand and stylized and a visually ambitious film than the other ones. Like Manchester by the Sea, for example. Like, obviously a screenplay and acting heavy movie, but it's so acclaimed that the directing comes along with it. However, you look at the 5 that you have, and it's just hard to say like that those aren't the best in terms of like the odds, you know?
You have 4 previous winners in
like
here
3.
too. That's like a little overboard. And I do think Daniels is top 5. It's literally going to be just like Jordan Peele and Greta Gerwig. They're going to get Critics' Choice nominated. They may or may not get like BAFTA and Golden Globe. But then they're going to get DGA.
They could still get Golden Globe because Mad Max got director and then Grand Budapest got director at Globes, and that's when people were like, wait, this isn't nothing, this is like really big.
They might.
Once it starts happening, like, you can't stop it. You cannot put the Daniels back in the bag.
Sam Mendes, Empire of Light too. I mean, that's
a big one.
That's a big one too, probably. Deacon's just shooting that thing.
I mean, look at how much look at the ambition of many of these directors.
Even
like,
Florian Zeller, I feel like the Oscars would like to nominate him.
Yeah,
you know?
they may very well.
He probably maybe even got close for The Father.
It's going to be an intense director race.
If we're looking at Cannes films that can get nominated for director, because that has happened 4 years in a row, I think it'll be Ruben Östlund or Park Chan-wook.
You think it will happen, or you think it could happen?
I think if it does happen, it'll be one of those 2.
Yeah,
but,
sure.
I don't know, maybe this year will break the streak, but it is a strong streak, so you got to put them in the top 10, I think. The rest of the list, I mean, it kind of the same argument for, like, picture.
I think even if Avatar is, like, somehow a Best Picture contender, I could see James Cameron getting a Villeneuve snub or something.
All right, Best Actor. You know, we kind of talked about some of these top contenders with our Best Picture predictions, but we got Coleman Domingo and Rustin. I mean, he's playing civil rights activist. We've been waiting for Coleman Domingo to have a lead role. Everything that he does is like extremely juicy and meaty. And I mean, putting him center stage is just a brilliant idea in and of itself. Brendan Fraser, The Whale. Come on. We know this. We kind of already talked about this. Hugh Jackman's going to freaking kill it in The Sun. And then DiCaprio is almost just by default in the top 5 for Killers of the Flower Moon.
I'm confused about your number 5 and why you don't have Austin Butler for Elvis. Why don't you have him for Elvis? Because we know that he's great in Elvis. Everybody likes him who has seen that movie, and he's already going to get nominated for like SAG and Golden Globe musical, probably Critics' Choice.
It's not a musical, so he'd be in drama. This is Taron Egerton. What I'm hearing from you is Taron.
You could say that, but Taron Egerton was probably very close.
And I have him at number 6. I have Austin Butler at number 6.
But why do you have?
Because it's coming out in July.
The performance in Bardo, like, you don't know what that is. You just don't know what that is.
I don't know what it is what you tell me. But in reality, you have probably a great actor who just hasn't been in American movies leading an Iñárritu film. And I've said before, every Iñárritu film, except for Amores Perros, has gotten acting nominations. Even like down to Beautiful, 21 Grams. Like, you're telling me no one's going to be nominated from this. He's just going to be great. And maybe he won't get nominated everywhere. Maybe he misses SAG or something. But like, I think we have to pay attention.
I'll be really excited. Like, I can feel, the reviews coming out for Bardo, and people are like, guys, the lead actor in this film is so good. He better get an Oscar nomination. That would be really exciting to me because, we like celebrating new up-and-coming talent or just talent that has yet to be recognized but has been in the industry forever. Like, we're always rooting for those people come Oscar time. I am pretty compelled by your argument. I do.
Look, he's got an acting
I do see
face.
It. Especially...
Google his name. He's got, like, a face for acting.
Yeah,
he's probably been acting for decades. Like, he's probably a seasoned guy. Aparicio got nominated for Roma.
Yeah, I think it's like I don't know. I don't disagree that it's a good idea to call something like that.
We're calling it. We're calling it.
You want
right
to call
now.
that over
I'm
Austin Butler?
gonna call it over because Elvis is coming out like in the summer. Michael Fassbender next goal wins. You know, that could be pretty big. Diego Calva in Babylon too. I think he is going to be like on the fence because his performance is going to be very good, but he's not going to be as showy as maybe Brad Pitt or Margot Robbie. Viggo Mortensen in 13 Lives, I think, is like, you know, if the movie's in there. Christian Bale in Amsterdam will probably be very good.
Yeah, hard to deny a Christian Bale performance, but really, you can deny anything if people just don't like your movie and if it doesn't get a campaign.
You know, I'm excited for Joaquin Phoenix in Disappointment Boulevard because that movie is like 3.5 hours right now, and Ari Aster doesn't want to cut it. And it's like, what is he going to be doing like over the course of decades that this movie spans? Like, I don't know what the movie's going to do, but I feel like he's going to be amazing in it no matter what. It was
amazing. Come on. They didn't care.
You know, I did add like Jim Parsons in spoiler alert, like just cause he's playing like a real person. He's in a Michael Showalter movie. Director of Tammy Faye. At the very bottom of this list, though, I am plugging Eden Dambreen in Close. He's a teen, but my God. Song Kang-ho in Broker. Other people are gonna see his Best Actor win at Cannes, and they're gonna think that like he's gonna be in the conversation. I'm just telling you from the movie I saw, like that did not seem like an Oscar bait performance. He's being very like gentle and subtle. And he does not have a scene where he like breaks down or anything like that.
But what about Tom Cruise in Top Gun Maverick? What about the Maverick himself?
The narrative around Tom Cruise is like he's doing it like nobody else in Hollywood with the stunts and like the authenticity. But I don't think it's actually the performance itself that would get the nomination.
Yeah, that'd be fucking weird. I just don't think so.
That's not happening. Best Actress, Margot Robbie for Babylon. This could just end up being number one like the entire year. Right. I mean,
you're basing this mainly off of what people have said from test screenings, no?
Yeah, but I've also like have skimmed the script, and she has multiple scenes where she's just like cursing and shouting and being insane. Like she's being an eccentric actress from like the 20s or whatever.
I think I could see the push for a win for her. I mean, she's been nominated a couple times. I thought her performance was phenomenal and was Oscar worthy, but there were so many good actresses that year. It would make a lot of sense if she won an Oscar for this.
It would, wouldn't it? Michelle Yeoh's happening. Have her at number 2 even.
It better fucking happen.
The amount of respect for her name right now is through the roof. And everybody knows that she needs to be nominated. And if she isn't nominated, it would be like an Amy Adams Arrival kind of snub. Like,
I think it would be worse because Amy Adams has been nominated like 6 times prior to that. In a way, this isn't like an Oscar performance, but it's doing so many other things that the other performances like can't say that they're doing. Blending, you know, comedy and action and like
doing all her own stunts.
Doing like Buster Keaton shit. Just being able to pull out any emotion and do like any genre and bring the character to life in you know, a multi-dimensional way. I would be very, very upset if that wasn't nominated.
When voting is going on, we just need to bring back all over the internet that clip of her saying like, this is the role that I've been waiting to do my entire career.
Or you could just recycle the scene in the movie when she's like, I just want to be here with you, and then everyone's like, oh yeah, I am moved because Michelle Yeoh is good in this scene.
Olivia Colman, Empire of Light. Come on. Probably the biggest Academy darling right now. If she gets nominated again, that will be 4 nominations in 5 years, and it's like probably gonna happen, to be honest. Danielle Deadwyler for Till. I mean, you gotta think that this is just gonna be like the most heavy, grueling performance.
Yeah, she was pretty amazing in The Harder They Fall.
I feel like her performance at least is going to be nominated and praised by critics.
Yeah.
Like a lot. Number 5 is very tricky for me because you've got like so many performances I could see getting nominated. Carey Mulligan for She Said. Naomi Aki playing Whitney Houston. Regina King playing Shirley Chisholm.
Viola Davis in The Woman King.
I know.
Viola Davis coming off of the First Lady role that people were kind of trashing online, but that's okay.
I went with Cate Blanchett for Tar. Now, why did I do this? Because I figured, you know what? Todd Field, In the Bedroom, 3 acting nominations. Little Children, 2 acting nominations. And you're telling me Cate Blanchett, one of the greats, is going to lead his next movie. Is playing a real person, is not going to get nominated. It's coming out at fall festivals.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's already been submitted.
You know,
to
this
Venice.
could be an
Submitted
undeniable
to
thing,
Venice.
like Nicole Kidman and Being the Ricardos, where people are like, I just don't know what to do with her. I just don't know what to do with this. Yeah, she's Nicole Kidman. Yeah, it's an Aaron Sorkin directed movie, but I just don't know what to do with it because I don't want her in my top 5, like muddying up things.
Well, I think
and then the
that-
movie comes out and it's like, shit, we gotta put her in.
Well, I think it'd be more like critics would be on her side.
Regina King and Shirley is pretty compelling, though, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it's all compelling, but Shirley's not even guaranteed to come out this year, I don't think.
I also think Carey Mulligan, like you kind of mentioned that's pretty compelling. If She Said is an Oscar contender, or even as Bombshell.
Naomi Aki, you know what made me move her down was the poster. I was like,
Yeah.
what in the 2004 is this, you know? Maybe Jennifer Hudson Respect kind of thing. But then again, she might have been boosted if that movie came out late. Poor Things. Like, Emma Stone would probably get nominated for that movie if it was Best
She's gonna
Picture
do
too.
a lot in that. But the thing is that it's comedy.
I don't know if it's that comedy.
Okay, they're putting a baby brain inside of her head.
It's a
She's
little
gonna
bit
go
comic.
goo
No,
goo
she's actually
gaga.
not going goo goo gaga. In the book, she's just like, I do not know how to say things that well. It's a little different.
Oh,
I don't know.
that's gonna be funny though.
Florence Pugh is going to be very good in Don't Worry, Darling, but I don't know if she's going to be like getting an Oscar nomination. Chastain Good Nurse, Helen Mirren Golda is kind of a weird thing, but if she's wearing that much makeup, you got to keep her on there.
Yeah.
And then everything else here is sort of long shot speculation. I do think Ana de Armas and Blonde, I think, you know, that movie is going to be like some NC-17 wacko shit. Also, like, what's happening with Red, White, and Water? We've been like having that somewhere on the radar for years. Like, is A24 even going to release it this year? And at the bottom, I'm plugging Rebecca Hall in Resurrection. This is not going to happen. The movie's release strategy and the studio that's doing it is
it's
just not going to make a splash. And Emily Watson in God's Creatures I thought was really good. Supporting actress. Do you want Lily Gladstone or Michelle Williams at number 1?
Lily
friend?
Gladstone.
Because Michelle Williams is 4 noms deep. She's going to be nominated again. She's going to be playing Spielberg's mommy.
She
in
can get
Spielberg's
nominated
movie.
till the day she dies. I just feel like this is gonna be Lily Gladstone. You know, Overdue doesn't pan out that often. I just feel like that performance in Killers of the Flower Moon is going to be very heavy and hard to deny.
Also, Lily Gladstone, from what I've seen, is not the kind of performer that's going to be overdoing it. Good for her. But in terms
But
of
she doesn't need to
which
overdo
performance
it.
is more baity,
She could just be raw.
and which performance is more baity, it's going to be Michelle Williams. I'm just telling you that.
Why is that gonna be more bait? I'm not
Because
sure.
she's in a Spielberg movie, she's gonna cry. She's gonna have so many scenes. It's gonna be like Ariana DeBose all over again. In terms of just like she's gonna be delivering.
doing a mother performance.
It's gonna be her 5th nomination, and maybe it won't even be between those two. Like we're talking Jessie Buckley and Women Talking. I mean, if not her, then somebody else is gonna be, you know, standing out in this movie. Maybe it even gets 2 supporting actress nominations. But Jessie Buckley's hot off that Oscar nom. Vanessa Kirby in The Sun is probably going to be a really big, important role. Laura Dern is also in a supporting role in this movie. They could be double nominated. Like, why not? They're both going to be great. How are they even going to choose? Maybe it'll be Laura Dern and not Vanessa Kirby. And Hong Chow for The Whale. Her and Sadie Sink have really meaty roles in this. I'm prioritizing Hong Chow because she's a little more seasoned, kind of got snubbed for downsizing. Sadie Sink's the younger actor, so it might be harder for her, but I think she could be like Lucas Hedges' Manchester by the Sea if the movie's like in there for Best Picture.
Yeah, I mean, I think it'll probably come down to more who's like the buzzier performance.
And Whoopi Goldberg for Till, that could be a really big comeback performance. And it was sort of hard not to have her in the top 5. I had her in last time. Audra McDonald and Rustin also might be a big performance. Zoe Kazan for She Said. I actually have a few She Said actresses on this list. I know Zoe Kazan's going to have the biggest part, possibly a co-lead. But then, you know, Patricia Clarkson or Samantha Morton could also be nominated.
Stephanie Sue, I would really like to see her get nominated for Everything Ever All at Once. Seems less likely, though. I think people would be pretty comfortable just nominating the other 2 actors in the film. But I think she's worthy, like, especially the second time I saw the film. She really stood out to me.
She could take off. Griselda Siciliani for Bardo, you know, again, Iñárritu gets actors nominated. I think she's the second biggest character in the movie, so why not? Dakota Johnson, Cha-Cha Real Smooth. I mean, that would happen, I think, if the movie was getting nominated, probably. Also, Dolly DeLeon for Triangle of Sadness. This is not just a plug for me because I think she deserves some buzz. I actually do think that if the movie enters the conversation, that she will be part of it to an extent. She's only really in the last third, so that probably hurts her a little bit, but
she's got a really big presence in that last third. And she had the audience like laughing and clapping and shit. Also from Cannes, Lee Ji-yun for Broker was really great. Another performance I'm kind of plugging here, but it's also like an Oscar bait performance, is Emily DeQuinn for Close. And at the bottom of the list, you'll see Jean Smart for Babylon, which is the thing that a lot of people think is happening. I'm pretty sure this is going to be like a Licorice Pizza-esque cameo, where she's not in it a ton, but people kind of just got the idea that like she was going to get nominated without actually knowing what her role is and how big it is. Supporting actor, we got the news that Jesse Plemons is supporting for Killers of the Flower Moon. It's kind of funny that they dropped this news so early. Also just more evidence that they're intending for the movie to come out this year. They were like looking at people's predictions and they were like, let's clarify this for everybody. And it was like, thank you. Does it make him number one? I guess why not put him at number one though? He clearly has a lot of support because he didn't have to do all that much to get nominated for Power of the Dog. His role, I think, is that he's really prominent in the second half. I don't even know if he's in the first half. He's going to be like basically the lead of the second half, if not like the co-lead. Ke Huy Quan for Everything Everywhere. It'd be hard to see him not getting nominated. Seems like he goes along with the package. People are really loving him in this film. And this seems like it was just the perfect role for him and he's having so much fun with it. And he's so like perfect. He really embodies like the heart and soul of the movie. People love him in the movie too. Like everybody says, oh, he was my favorite. I think he could be in the winning conversation too. Brad Pitt in Babylon. I mean, this is pretty locked in. Well, dare I say it. I mean, I think he's got a really big supporting role. And then Robert De Niro, Killers of the Flower Moon. I'm not afraid to say that Killers of the Flower Moon can get 2 supporting actor nominations. I mean, why not? He's playing a very terrible person. And Paul Dano for The Fabelmans. I would love to see him finally get an Oscar nomination. And this is kind of the perfect role for him. I mean, he's in a Spielberg movie. He's playing the father of Spielberg. Maybe Seth Rogen as Stevie's uncle could kind of eclipse that buzz. I don't know how big this father role is going to be because what if he cast Paul Dano because his father is a sort of like unassuming gentleman? And in that case, I don't see the role being very baity because that's the kind of role that Paul Dano might play well as a father. Like he's not going to be yelling and screaming, or is he? He may be whipping him with the belt or something like that. I could just see him being like the more subdued father. Well, you know what? Jeremy Strong was like that in Armageddon Time, but I thought he was great. Like they gave him those scenes that he needed to open up at the end. Glenn Turman for Rustin. Interesting reunion between him and Ma Rainey, director here. Ben Whishaw in Women Talking. I moved him up a little bit because I think that he is going to have a big role. Russell Crowe, the greatest beer run ever. I mean, I feel like if this movie has any buzz, there's going to be some for him. Colin Farrell, 13 Lives. I kind of just see a movie that's Oscar baity and I see Colin Farrell and I think maybe give him a first nomination. Why don't you? But we'll have to see really what the movie's offering. And he's having a pretty big year this year. Willem Dafoe in Poor Things, I think he might just have this role as like the scientist who like does his work on Emma Stone's brain and then gets out of there. It's kind of like Nightmare Alley where people were like, oh, Willem Dafoe in an Oscar bait movie, he will be on my supporting actor list. But you know, just because Willem Dafoe is in a movie doesn't mean the role is gonna be an Oscar bait one. People put Willem Dafoe at number 1 in supporting actor at the beginning of the year every year. It happened with The Last Thing He Wanted and The Lighthouse, Nightmare Alley, and it's probably happening with Poor Things as we speak. Mark Ruffalo may have as big, probably bigger of a role. Paul Mescal for Aftersun. He's the lead, but I'm putting him here because I just feel like maybe the campaign strategy will be to put him in supporting if they want him to have a shot, because I don't think he's going to have a shot in lead. Zen McGrath in The Sun. I mean, this would be interesting if he kind of popped up as a major contender, because not only is he young, but he's more of a newcomer. But it's going to be a meaty role. Like, this kid's going to cry in a Florian Zeller movie. Tom Hanks and Elvis. After I watched this movie, I was like, ooh, like I'm a little worried about that. But honestly, I think that the makeup and all that is like too much. The voice is just going to be too much. I heard a lot of people dunking on him after the movie. I can't help but to fall for a Tom Hanks performance because I feel like he's always very sincere in everything he does. Do you think the sincerity is by design, or is this the kind of movie where sincerity came through but it wasn't even supposed to? That's actually a question that I have for Baz Luhrmann. Like, I actually don't know what I was supposed to make of this character. We'll talk about Bones and All for a second. I mean, that one's probably going to Venice. Very buzzy movie from Luca Guadagnino, but I don't think that it's going to be an Oscar thing because it's kind of a weird horror movie. But then I kind of thought, like, what if this is a Lovely Bones situation where you get like a Stanley Tucci nomination for Mark Rylance? I don't know. That was just a thought that I had. I'm almost getting ready to delete the Armageddon Time Boys. I really just think that movie is not going to take off. That movie seems dead for any nominations at all. Original screenplay. We kind of said this as, you know, if Everything Everywhere All at Once is our number one for picture, then here you go. But not even because it's number one for picture. It's number one for screenplay, and that's why it's number one for picture. You understand? I understand. Do you understand? It's got that promising young woman, like, Get Out, her kind of thing going on, I think. It's one of the craziest, wildest, like, most game-changing stories, you know, in the last decade. And it's got a dose of comedy, which I think you can see in a lot of the winners in this category. And genre bending. That's a big thing for original screenplay, too. Yep. You know, people who think The Fabelmans is going to win Oscars for Spielberg, it's like, nah. What urgency is there to give Spielberg more Oscars? Actually, I semi-take that back because giving screenplay to The Fabelmans is giving it to Spielberg and Kushner, which is kind of a 2-2 punch. But they didn't even nominate Kushner for West Side Story because they just didn't care. Belfast 2.0. So that one's screenplay. Yeah. Got Bardo in there because. And I have Triangle of Sadness. I am throwing this in there. I feel like this could at the very least be like The Lobster. From what you said, it sounds like a very righty movie. It's funny and it's a satire. So there you go. Like you said, it has scenes that just go on and they're just like funny dialogue. And I feel like the movie is some kind of a contender. And so this could be like the minimum for it. I was actually watching an interview with Dolly DeLeon, and she was saying that Ruben Östlund like really wanted to win the Palm. Like even when he was making the movie, he was like, Palm winner, come on everybody, let's go. So like he likes getting awards. Like I think that he's gonna try to get an Oscar nomination. Okay, so Don't Worry Darling, like I guess that does have a better chance in original screenplay than Best Picture. There are a few movies that are like that. I think Bros, which is gonna be like the first gay studio comedy from Billy Eichner. The trailer looks hilarious. Maybe a little bit of a long shot, but I really don't think it's impossible for this movie to sneak in there like Big Sick style. I mean, even Big Sick wasn't like as funny as this movie is. You know, Cha Cha Real Smooth also has a little bit of a shot to be just a screenplay nominee in this category. An adapted screenplay. I have Women Talking at number 1. I mean, the screenplay award is in the title, is it not? Talking. And The Sun, I think, also is going to be a really big contender for this award. That'd be funny if he won 2 in a row, but Alexander Payne, Quentin Tarantino. Like, is he that level as a writer? Killers of the Flower Moon, that just seems like it'll be nominated and not win. That's just classic. The Whale, I think, could definitely be nominated, even if it is not in Best Picture. But the fact that The Whale is like screenplay and maybe lead actor, like those two alone is like, okay. Yeah, that's a big package. Let's throw that into picture. And for the 5th slot, this was sort of the more difficult slot to decide on. But I went with She Said. I mean, it was my number 11 for picture, so I figured, why not? Although it'd be weird if it got screenplay and not picture. But I guess we're just spreading out the eggs for that movie. Next Goal Wins, there could be a compelling case there because that movie's got comedy in it. White Noise is going to be very righty, I think, too. And Poor Things also going to be a very righty movie. Cinematography. All right, this is my favorite 5, I think. Tell me where you disagree here. You've got Empire of Light, Roger Deakins. Babylon, which is a Chazelle movie. It's shot by Linus Sandgren. Killers of the Flower Moon is Rodrigo Prieto, who got nominated for Silence, which was the only nomination for that movie. And then got nominated for The Irishman, which honestly I thought was kind of a lackluster looking movie. And Brokeback Mountain. So yeah, there you go. There's another But like King is a Western. Okay, this is a Western. Even if no one likes it, it's getting nominated. The Fabelmans is a Spielberg movie. That's Janusz Kaminski. I didn't even look that up. What he did with West Side Story was insane. This movie takes place in like the 50s. Yeah, like why wouldn't this also be insane? You know, he's going to do like a crazy shot where there's like a little tinklet, like a little trinket kid's toy in the foreground, and the kid's going to come from the background to like look at it, and then you're going to like see a reflection in his eyeglasses, and then the kid's going to get up and the camera's going to move over his shoulder and it's going to like change the frame without cutting, like all the stuff that Janusz Kaminski does, right? And then you have Bardo, which is Alejandro González Iñárritu, whose last 2 movies won director and cinematography. Yeah, but that was because they were insane. That was Lubezki, though. Iñárritu, he could pick a motherfucker up off the street, and that kid would get nominated for an Oscar. The guy is ambitious. The shots are going to be ambitious. Maybe he's going more back to, like,
beautiful 21 grams Amores Perros style.
I don't know. I mean, even if he did, I would think that there's going to be a nomination somewhere.
Yeah, there might be. I think it's a solid ass 5. How can you not?
That was my rant, is that it's a solid ass 5, and tell me like which one you don't think will get nominated.
I mean, Avatar won cinematography. So the second has a chance for sure. All Quiet on the Western Front is black and white, and it's a war movie. Say it with me. Poor Things is being done by Robbie Ryan again. Another Victorian movie. I mean, how's that not going to look great? I bet, those lenses are going to be even wider. It's gonna
Why
be
don't you
great.
put Top Gun Maverick at number 6? Like, just why not? I'm just curious.
I don't think Top Gun Maverick's actually going to get nominated for cinematography.
Didn't you say it's going to get ASC?
Yeah, that's why it's number 8.
That should be why it's number 6.
It's not going to get ASC over this top 5, though. Am I right?
Yeah.
Anyway,
I don't disagree with that.
13 Lives, good cinematographer on that one, who did Memoria and Call Me by Your Name. So I'm excited to see how that looks. The Batman would totally be deserving. I do think they're going to forget about it, though, by the end of the year. The Woman King, so far, is looking really good from those images. Don't Worry, Darling, good-looking movie. I don't know if also Decision to Leave, would kind of deserve it. Everything Everywhere, some people think that it's a maybe, and I don't really think it's a maybe. Editing, we got Everything Everywhere at number 1. You know why this is. You've seen the movie. Crazy shit. And everybody who watches the movie can recognize the greatness of the editing. And that's called
it's like
editing.
editing 101, like a masterclass in it, just because it has so many examples of tying in multiple storylines and making them all make sense and making them cohere.
And so much of the movie depends on the editing for its energy and everything.
Yeah. And it's the editor of the Eric Andre show. His credits are really funny. Yeah.
Babylon is going to be 3 hours of craziness. The movie is said to be very crazy. Okay, it's gonna get nominated for editing for sure.
It's also just a Chazelle movie.
Yeah,
I don't know how First Man didn't get nominated for editing.
Yeah, that was ridiculous, and I'm still upset. Killers of the Flower Moon will just Thelma Schumacher. What do you want?
Thelma Schumacher did weird freeze frames for The Irishman, and people were like, yeah, they loved everything she did.
Top Gun Maverick, I think will happen. It's obvious, and it's gonna be easy for people to say that's editing. It'll get BAFTA nominated.
Oh, it will absolutely be BAFTA nominated. Yeah. Sure, yeah. 13 Lives, I think you should take seriously, because remember Rush. I know Rush got snubbed across the board, which is pretty upsetting, but the editing in that movie was insane. And you have that low for editing.
You said it was going to have long takes, didn't you? Not every big Best Picture movie gets nominated for editing.
I know, but Bardo is the kind of movie that gets nominated for editing.
I don't know.
So don't put it that low. That's ridiculous.
Worried about Elvis. Decision to Leave did some crazy shit with the editing that was pretty amazing. That should be nominated for editing. Production design, Babylon's winning. You heard it here. I mean, when you get a movie about Hollywood, La La Land, Mank, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, these movies win production design. And Babylon is Roaring Twenties Gatsby shit in Hollywood. Killers of the Flower Moon. I have Avatar: The Way of Water.
I'll push back on you for Avatar in other categories, but not for production design. No.
I mean, the original won production design, so we're gonna do that. The Fabelmans, that takes place in post World War II. All right. Do you want Empire of Light in the top 5? It takes place in the 80s, so it's not that production design.
I would put that in the top 5.
Because, otherwise, I don't really have anything I feel certain about. I mean, maybe Poor Things.
You have Elvis that high?
Yeah, because I don't know what else.
I think 13 Lives could get a production design nomination.
Yeah, I mean, for Caves, okay,
yeah,
maybe.
for making Caves. And
for Caves, maybe.
No, yeah, for Caves, yeah. Everything Everywhere, could that creep up for production design?
It will get a contemporary nomination at the Guild, that's for sure.
I would not mind seeing that. I mean,
I wouldn't mind it either.
We all know that they transformed the shit out of that office building.
Maybe Matilda or something Disney-ish will skyrocket to the top of the list, like Pinocchio or something. Costume design, once again, Babylon, because Great Gatsby shit. People are going to be wearing crazy rich people costumes to rich people Roaring Twenties parties. Killers of the Flower Moon, that's by default. The Fabelmans, that's by default. And then I got the Woman King. I mean, the costume design from the images we have so far looks really interesting. Stands out, looks unique. And I have Poor Things because it's a Victorian era movie. Elvis.
Pinocchio. No animated film has gotten costumes. What the fuck?
They are building costumes for the characters.
I agree, but
it might be very lavish.
Will they do that?
I don't think they'll do it. That's why I have it low, but I think it's possible.
It's actually kind of cool. If it did get hype, I would appreciate that.
I also think Elvis will definitely be in the conversation. And Black Panther, the first one won costumes, but I don't think they're gonna do it again. I think they're gonna say we already did this.
Yeah.
Makeup, the Batman I have at number 1 because look at Colin Farrell, buddy.
I don't see that
And you know
winning.
who else has makeup? The Batman. You know who else has makeup?
The Joker.
The Joker who's not in it. The Penguin is enough.
I don't know though. I don't really.
Because that's the biggest.
I see it getting nominated, yeah, but I don't.
Show me the bigger prosthetic transformation.
I mean, I guess for Brendan Fraser in The Whale, it's just like making him obese, which is kind of a weird thing that I think people are going to be like, I don't know like how that's going to be
Actually,
perceived.
I don't think that's really going to be makeup, is it? If it's below the face. Poor Things, I'm assuming Willem Dafoe will look a little crazy. I don't know.
It doesn't seem likely.
You know what? I don't really know what to do here. I don't really know what to do
Golda
here.
in there.
Golda, she looks fucking weird. That shit does not look good. And that movie is going to be Bleecker Street. Like, is anyone going to care? Babylon, I think, might have enough stuff going on. I don't know. Even The Great Gatsby didn't get nominated for makeup.
Babylon doesn't seem like it would get nominated.
Yeah, I don't know. This is a little bit of a mess.
The Great Gatsby didn't get makeup.
The Woman King, I mean, I don't know.
That makes sense, actually.
Elvis has prosthetics on Tom Hanks, but they're fucking weird. X had makeup. That was interesting.
Nuts.
That was freaking interesting. Also, I saw a movie at Cannes called Sick of Myself. It's a Norwegian comedy, but it did have makeup. The girl basically gives herself a rash for attention and it gets like really bad. So I don't know, like that's a maybe thing that I noticed. I have a feeling we're not going to get a lot of the makeup right. That's why the Batman's number 1. Now you agree with me.
I guess so.
You agree with me. Score, Empire of Light, Thomas Newman. I mean, I don't know if he's going to actually win this year, but my God, he is overdue. So may as well. Babylon is Justin Hurwitz again. He will be nominated for that. The Fabelmans is John Williams. He's going to get nominated. I have women talking because it's Hildur Gunnadottir, who did Joker. I feel like that's going to be good shit. At 5 is The Batman from Michael Giacchino. Michael Giacchino is actually also doing Lightyear and Next Goal Wins, but I think that people will not get the score for Batman out of their heads by the end of the year. Maybe Robbie Robertson, who is coming back on Scorsese's film as composer. He did The Irishman, wasn't nominated. Top Gun Maverick is a possibility. Maybe even Everything Everywhere All at Once for score. And then, you've got a couple Desplat movies in here because you got to include Desplat. Like Pinocchio. I mean, that's very possible. Bardo's being done by Bryce Dessner. They should nominate Decision to Leave for score. I'm going to plug that. Best Sound, Top Gun Maverick, number 1. How are you going to deny the roaring of those planes? It has planes doing all the things that planes do and making all the sounds that planes like to make. Avatar will probably be nominated.
Yeah, because the humans will have machine guns that will be firing at the blue people.
Also, just the water. Like, there's going to be water. They're going to be flying around and shit. I mean,
yeah,
it's going to
definitely
get
sound.
And the Batman, I think, will get sound, too. I mean, the Batman really should get sound. Everything Everywhere. We got that in. Got a lot of little fun accent effects all over the movie. And I hope they'll recognize it here. I mean, if it's winning editing, then it gives it even more support.
Yeah, that's what gives me hope.
And at 5, I have Babylon, because there's usually like at least one Best Picture nominee that kind of just gets in. I mean, maybe it'll be Killers of the Flower Moon, but
yeah,
Babylon
possible.
I think is going to be very musical. And if the parties are really that chaotic, I mean, I feel like there will be a lot to pull from. Killers of the Flower Moon, I feel, will be more of like a sparse movie like Silence or something. Elvis, Lightyear, the reviews haven't been like that good. 13 Lives has some interesting stuff probably going on too, with like the cave and the water and all that. Even The Greatest Beer Run Ever, I mean, even that is war shit. But All Quiet on the Western Front is probably going to be like the most war shit. Visual effects, Avatar is going to win. How is anything going to challenge it? Black Panther Wakanda Forever, why is this on here when the first got snubbed? I mean, they nominated 2 Marvel movies last year, so they are not done. Thor Love and Thunder, I don't know if it's going to get like visual effects, and Doctor Strange, people were kind of lukewarm on that.
They could still get visual effects though. Doctor Strange movie, it's like a little different.
The Batman I have, because I do think that whenever you watch like a behind the scenes of Batman, which I did recently, the whole like building the screen like 360 thing, like that's very cool. Everything Everywhere All at Once. Now,
you think
a lot of people think it's getting nominated. I'll have it in for now, but I'm skeptical because we know the narrative is cool that only like 5 or 7 people actually did the visual effects for this movie, and yet there were like 500.
Yeah, it's like
shots.
a really scrappy team of visual effects people.
But here's the thing, because that's the case, it's like maybe the actual visual effects branch will be less impressed because it's like they're doing a bunch of like After Effects shit. It's not like the most complicated, like tinkered, like airbrushed kind of thing, you know?
That's true, but they also might have like a bleeding heart for it. So there's an interesting narrative there.
Top Gun, I'm just not convinced that has enough visual effects. Like, I tried to look for behind the scenes shit. Like, they just flew around with cameras in the plane. Like, yes, the missiles and the explosions and planes flipping, like, probably didn't happen. But is there enough of that to get it nominated? I'm not sure. The Del Toro animated Pinocchio, I think that could happen.
Yeah.
This has happened twice. I mean, it happened with Nightmare Before Christmas and Kubo and the Two Strings. So if this movie's going full Del Toro, I feel like it's got to be, you know, up there with like the scale of those movies probably. So maybe. Animated feature, I guess Lightyear's number one. I guess. Because people like it, but there aren't a ton of people I'm seeing who are like head over heels for it. I actually wonder, like, maybe Turning Red could overtake it. Do you think that's possible? Lightyear's actually
I really like Turning Red, and everybody I know who's seen it really likes it. But it's the kind of movie where you're waiting for like the other Disney movie to come out and then like take it over.
Which is Lightyear. Or Strange World. This recently got a trailer and it looks pretty cool.
Yeah, so I guess this is actually a many horse race, which is refreshing because usually there's like the Disney film that's going to win. And I guess that could be Lightyear though. If the reactions are lukewarm, then maybe Lightyear can be surpassed in the same way that Incredibles 2 got surpassed by Spider-Man.
What we have here is actually 3 Disney movies and 2 Netflix movies. Del Toro's Pinocchio is Netflix. That's going to be nominated probably. And then Wendell and Wild would be like a little bit more of like a wacky, interesting pick. That's also stop motion. That'd be 2 in the category. My Father's Dragon is also a Netflix movie. International feature, Bardo will probably be the winner. From South Korea, you're going to have either Broker or Decision to Leave. That's going to be a hell of a decision that South Korea makes. I would lean towards betting that they would do Broker just because it appears to be like a safer pick on the surface. Close from Belgium. I hope that this will be submitted. I think it probably will be. It came out of Cannes as one of the buzziest films there. I do have RRR in. This is a little strange because in India's history at the Academy Awards, they've only had 2 movies nominated. And generally, the Oscars do ignore Bollywood shit. But this movie is on just like a whole nother level in terms of like the hype that it's having and the amount of people who are actually saying, you know what, I am going to watch a Bollywood film. I think this movie has caught on, and if India submits it, I feel like it could get in.
Yeah, it'd be an unconventional one because usually the international category is very like highbrow and stuffy.
Typically, 3 out of 5 from Canada is not a bad bet, and we do have 3 out of 5. Layla's Brothers, I kind of hope will be Iran's submission. And I feel like it's friendly enough that they could nominate it. I just want it to have more buzz than it does. Athena from France is a movie that Netflix has, and I think that the director of Les Miserables is co-writing it. And that will probably be a Venice movie too. Documentary feature. At this point in the year, it's always just trying to guess like which Sundance movies are going to be nominated. And, in the past 3 years, it's been 3. Fire of Love, I think, may be the frontrunner. It's got the volcanoes, it's got the romance. It was people's favorite documentary at Sundance.
That is an archival footage.
It doesn't fucking matter. Fuck that. So was Summer of Soul. People went wham, wet their diapers all the fucking year. This movie's going to get nominated. National Geographic picked it up.
Like, no, I think it's going to get nominated.
Well, I guess The Rescue got snubbed, and that was weird. But Navalny.
That was a really good, like, thrilling documentary that I would recommend to anybody. It's also more relevant because of Russia's presence on the global stage now that they've invaded Ukraine. Because it paints a deservingly very poor portrait of Putin and his goons and the way that they operate. And I could actually see that maybe winning. Music documentaries are like iffy at the Oscars, but this one's apparently special. Moon Age Daydream is about David Bowie, and it's from Neon, and apparently it's done in a very unconventional way, but people who see this say it's really something. Descendant was our favorite documentary from Sundance. It's my favorite film from Sundance, period.
Yeah, and Netflix has it, so I think that's going to be pushed in this category pretty hard, and it really deserves it.
The film really is a microcosm of America as a whole. To me, it was just a very eye-opening and important film.
I have a feeling that only the top 4 are really going to be relevant to the conversation. I mean, maybe Lucy and Desi a little bit.
Yeah, a couple others that you have here. Like Aftershock was one of my favorite films of Sundance. Like, I think that's great. I really hope it gets nominated. It's not like the most polished documentary you'll see, but it's definitely one of the most important ones you'd probably see this year.
Let's do SAG Ensemble too for fun. I mean, Babylon, Killers of the Flower Moon. If it's like a Christmas sort of rushed thing, like could suffer in the way that Wolf of Wall Street did at the SAG Awards. Rustin, I feel like that makes a lot of sense. I mean, Ma Rainey was nominated, and that was easy to say that was getting nominated. Women Talking is like an ensemble movie, just like by definition. So I got
It's
that
kind of a
on there.
chamber movie, though, isn't it?
No, I think it has different scenes.
We've debated quite a bit about Everything Everywhere and whether that could get SAG Ensemble. You know, there are a solid 5 actors who you could name that, you know, deserve to be like a part of the ensemble. And then when you look back at other films like Belfast, you know, there are only really 5 notable actors, or even Coda. So 5 notable actors is actually all you need.
But why don't I have The Fabelmans?
I don't know why you don't have The Fabelmans.
There's always that movie that just gets snubbed just because and for no reason. And The
Yeah.
Fabelmans will probably also be like a late year movie. I don't know.
Next Goal Wins, I could definitely see getting a SAG Ensemble
Yeah.
nomination, even if it's not a Best Picture thing.
Also, She Said, I feel like there's going to be a lot of like
Yeah.
different reporters in the New York Times room, and they're going to be doing their thing. And
Yeah.
The Sun, I think, is going to have mainly 4 really good central performances, but maybe like Power of the Dog, it's just going to be like, oh, but it's only those 4. Maybe
The
like
Greatest Beer Run Ever could do it. The Greatest
Yeah.
Beer Run Ever is about buddies.
maybe Cha Cha Real Smooth. That will be like
No.
where Apple works its magic. Because you got
No.
the kids in there, you got a couple good, like his parents, you know, Judy Greer and.
Oh, I
There's
guess so,
actually,
because The Big Sick.
There's a case to make for it. There is
Only
a case.
because it's The Big Sick.
It
All
is,
I have to say
and
to
it
me
and
is
it is
kind
The
of
Big
that.
Sick.
Yeah.
And that concludes our June Oscar predictions. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing.
Are you having a good summer?